Make sure we got everything going in the correct direction. Okay, folks, good morning. We're going to see if this is going to be kind of a test run and see how this goes. So, let's go on this screen just to be safe here. I should be able to update this. Okay, perfect. I got some little things of trying to solve the issues that I've been having the last couple of days connecting. It's been very erratic, very erratic. So we're trying to solve that. I think I've kind of narrowed down what it is with my limited technological ability when it comes to this kind of stuff. And, we'll see. I'm going to do kind of a test run, and if this works, then we can go on to the next step. So, all right. So, last time we left off with painting these guys. Almost got this guy done, so let's finish this guy off so we can call him complete. And I'm going to have to be playing a little game here, switching screens. And we'll see. We're kind of off to a late start today. So I've been battling with this for a couple of hours. Battling is probably the wrong word. It hasn't been frustrating. It takes a long time. People talk about trying to paint quick, or maybe my painting method that I use takes too long. But I'll tell you what, working on technology kind of stuff, when it doesn't work, takes a heck of a lot longer. A heck of a lot longer. Let's get us like a dark gray for his hat. And not that I couldn't just make a dark gray, but we're going to do that. See, I burned basically 2 hours this morning just trying to configure stuff. So, I think I got a new system I'm going to use, but I wanted to make sure the new camera thing. So the problem is I was having is it looks like the camera app that I have was connecting and disconnecting. So I got another one, and I got a different app that, I find it ridiculous that you need an app to kind of configure the fact that you want to use your phone as a camera. I mean, your phone is a camera, but you've got to do all this other kind of stuff and go through an app. And that seems to be what the issue was. Unfortunately, this one, I've got it facing backwards. And what I mean by facing backwards is, or maybe it's forwards. The other cameras I've always done, when you're filming something, I literally can see what's being filmed on the camera itself. And here it's backwards, so I can't see the screen. The screen's facing away from me. And you would think it would be easy to rotate it, but there was no, that's the problem when you use these free apps, is you don't know what you're going to get. And I certainly don't want to pay for it and then find out that it's garbage. And so here we are. So we may need to do another camera app or whatever, because this filming, while not being able to see the screen here and see what's centered, is really awkward. But anyways, to be continued. But I never could understand why you can't just click in your camera and do it. And I guess this one didn't ask me to turn things inside out. Let's do a check here and see. Let me go to this screen. All right. And let's do a check and make sure things aren't backwards. And if they are, I just have to deal with it, I guess. Yeah, it's not backwards on this one because I'm using the other side of the camera. But I have a screen here I can't see. I've got the back of my phone. Oh well. Weird stuff. To be continued. So in the process of trying to solve what the issue is of being disconnected all the time, I thought the issue was OBS. So I ended up installing Streamlabs, and it seems like it's really powerful. I had Streamlabs for my phone when I was doing the live stuff through there, but before I was able to stream directly on YouTube. But I never had it on the computer as an OBS, and it seems extremely powerful. So now that if we get this painting session and it's successful, then I'm going to tinker with that, and maybe we can have a better display here for you guys on here. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to solve this backwards camera thing. Well, it's not backwards for you guys. It's just for me trying to see what's going on. So I would like to use a different OBS because I would like to be able to see your guys' comments larger. Because right now, I guess I could just paint like this. And then look up. Maybe I should try that. Anyhow. Those disconnection things were really annoying. They're annoying for you guys, I'm sure, because you're trying to... Who wants to pay attention to something that's disconnecting all the time? And I want to show up and paint. And anything that I'm working on that interferes with painting is not moving in the right direction. So we'll see. We've got a weekend, hopefully, to tinker with that. So and I don't want to spend too much time tinkering because what I need to do is this, not fool around on camera settings and OBS stuff. That's for people that can't paint. They can mess with that stuff. So anyhow, getting back to the normal type of dialogue that we have on here. Filmed a new video last night and uploaded it while we were sleeping. So that's now up. It's some Achaemenid battles. So you can check those out when you get a chance. For those of you guys that are Persian fans, for those of you guys that don't know, you film a video, you edit it, you do a thing called exporting, which I would have called crunching it. That's changing it into a format that it can be sent out. I wouldn't call it exporting because you still have to, when you export it, which is like sending it to YouTube, that's a different process. So that should be called exporting. But anyhow, and you send it up to YouTube, and once it's up in YouTube, it does its little percolation and configures everything. So just because you send it up there, it still has processing time, and it'll process the video all the way through standard definition, and then it'll process it through high definition, and then it's ready to be watched, in 1080p. But depending on what time you send, what I've noticed is depending on what time you send it up for percolation, it could vary a lot. Normally, a 2 hour, generally how things are going with the processing that I have available, a 2 hour long video will take about an hour to process. to crunch the numbers and then export it. Doesn't take, sending it up to YouTube doesn't take very long. But then it takes probably about that same amount of time, about an hour, maybe two, to be fully watchable and the correct resolution that you want to see it in. And there's no point in watching these videos in 240p when they're recorded at a much higher level. That's just wasting everybody's time and silly. And depending on what time you do that, the processing time varies tremendously. For instance, I'll go to bed and in the process of 5 hours, it will upload the video and have it processed by the time I wake up. If I do that in the middle of the day, it may not be done processing for about 8 hours. So it seems like getting the video and getting that process done while I'm asleep seems to be the time. And it may be one of those issues where it depends on how busy YouTube is doing other stuff. But if you're doing it during normal operating hours, Eastern Standard Time, it seems like the configuration time it could be really slow. So that's just what I've noticed in my own experience. I'm not taking notes or anything. It just seems like that's what the case is. So it does vary with, I guess, how many resources YouTube has to iron out all of the details and make it smooth, I guess would be the correct way to say that. Okay, so this guy's complete now. This guy's complete with his other guy. And they can start, well, they got a ways to wait because we got 10 of these guys to do total. So they're complete there, and they're going to be part of the foot. You guys didn't see the video the other day. We did complete these. Well, I got to switch screens. I don't know where the hell it's centered. I can't look at my phone anymore and do that. So let's switch screens. Make sure I do this slowly so I don't screw up. There we go. And let's do it the other way. We're over here now. I don't know, the resolution seems to be pretty crappy. I don't know, really know what's going on here. Well, I'm not going to mess with that right now. Like I said, I just wanted to make sure that this camera app is working because it seems like that was part of the issue that I was having, the disconnecting issue. Hey, I never claimed to be good at this IT stuff and probably never will. I don't have an interest in it to begin with, you know. It would be like something, you know, that's not what I'm here for, to do that. That's just kind of a byproduct of necessity. All right, so let's go do this guy, and let's give him kind of a yellowish shirt. Let's give him kind of a yellowish shirt. Oh, but his bow's kind of yellow. So you got dark brown, I got a white. Let's do a this guy's gonna have to have a lighter colored beard. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's mess with this color. We still got any brown laying around here? No. No, I'm gonna have to get some brown going. So this is going to be kind of a little short session here. I just wanted to make sure all the things are configured in the correct manner before I move forward. I don't want to try to fix 8 things at once, so seems like the camera app was what was giving it problems. So I went in and said, okay, how can I fix this camera app? And I spent probably half an hour tinkering around with that. I'm like, okay, well, this needs to be pitched because I'm going round and round in circles, you know. So we won't be using that camera app, I think, for the time period. It's camera app. The app that allows the phone to notify the computer that it is being used as a camera. Their long-winded way of... I don't understand how people are interested in that IT crap. I mean, the stuff changes so much and there's so much misinformation, and that would just be really frustrating. I've said before, I don't really have the personality type for it. You know, we're not all made to do every job. And we're not all made to do every hobby. And some people don't have the patience to sit here and do what I do and paint patiently for hours on end. But, you know, everything I do may take forever, but I don't all of a sudden wake up and everything I've done is just thrown away. It's not like I, wake up in the morning and the figures that I painted the night before are unpainted. And that's the way I find that IT stuff is, and it just doesn't work for me, It doesn't work for me. So I don't care that this is a slow process, but it is constant movement towards the objective. Wake up one day and everything you've done is not, short of somebody coming in your house and stealing all your things, And, like I said this morning, I spent 2 hours just trying to get this thing to go off properly. And that's just a waste of time as far as I'm concerned. I know you guys appreciate these videos, well, some of you guys, but the main reason I do them is to get painting stuff done. So if I'm spending 2 hours configuring a video or configuring the phone, be able to talk to the computer and realize that, hey, I'd like to be used as a camera, that's time I'm not painting. So no painting means no new battles with this cool army. So it's all builds upon itself. But anyhow, it looks like, not to be too bold, but it looks like this situation is resolved, even though it's quite wonky the way it's done, because, like I said, I can't see my camera. I can see it, I just can't see the screen. So, if you were to send me a instant message or something like that, while I was filming, I wouldn't be able to see it until the video's done. Because this thing's facing the other way, and it doesn't seem to be a way to flip it. There's no buttons to flip it on this particular app. And I'm not going to spend 3 hours trying to figure it out. I won't look at the screen. Just, I could have 2 figures done in 3 hours. 2 of these figures anyways. So I certainly don't want to waste my time on that. But it does allow me to tinker with, I think, Streamlabs. I think we're probably going to try to do that as a system as opposed to the OBS. Looks like it's pretty powerful when it looks pretty, and I could probably do some other stuff on there. And I'd like to have something where the chat's bigger, because right now I can see when somebody puts something up, but I can't tell what it is until I put my glasses on. Or I can put my contacts in and we can read those things, but then I can't paint. So, can't have them both. Anywho. So yeah, check out that video when you guys get a chance. Achaemenid Aberration. Did 4 series of battles with early Achaemenid Persians. Well, these are the Xerxes type guys, not the Persians that Alexander fought. A little earlier. See, I can see that someone posted something, and I think it's a familiar. There he is, Cat Roger. It's a shame it keeps crashing. Well, I think we're okay, and let me not be too bold because I don't like to brag about stuff that's out of my control. That I don't have the skill set really to fix it. But it looks like it was the app, the webcam app. So, well, the important thing is, does the internet work correctly? And I think the internet is fine. I mean, yeah, there's going to be internet glitches, but we have a business line, and it's plenty of bandwidth. Boy, this is the old white. Look at this label. Wow. Let's see if this stuff's even alive. I had it next to the other one. I don't like to throw away paint just because it's here. No, it's still good. All right, perfect. Let's use this stuff up. But I think it's ridiculous. I don't know if you were on here earlier when I said it. I think it's ridiculous that you have a phone. There's no point in buying a webcam, okay? Because a webcam is not going to be as good of a picture as your phone is. If you have a modern phone or relatively, I think my phone's now a year old or something like that. So you buy it, you spend a couple $100s on a camera, it's not going to work as good as your phone, right? So you use that, but then you need to use an app, even though it's plugged into your computer. You still need an app for your computer to realize, hey, dumbass, this is a freaking phone that wants to be used as a camera. Oh, and I've got an issue here that I'm surprised hasn't come up yet. Let's do that. That may be part of the problem. See, the mini is hidden behind your face cam. Can you slide the camera over a little bit towards your left-hand side? Oh, boy. Okay, I'm going to have to look at the screen here. The mini's here. No, I need to look at this one. I can't look at my phone anymore. And, I see. I see what you're saying. Okay, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take this, and we're going to move this over here. Okay, and let's see if it went on the other screen. There we go. There's like a 20-second delay. Late start today. Yeah, Joe, I fought with this damn thing for like 2 hours. So, there we go. We'll move the webcam down there. Yeah, I can no longer look at my phone screen and see what I'm seeing in real time. There's about a 20-second delay, 20 or 30-second delay between the time that I put something there and it shows up. You watch YouTube on my Kindle and ask questions on my phone. Slight delay for me. It's for everybody. I think there's a built-in like 30-second delay. So, all right. I think now let's see if we can do. And everything's weird. Like for instance, I can't. This camera app doesn't allow me to flip the phone. So I can't flip the picture on it. This is why I paint. This is why I paint, folks. I don't do all that other IT crap, It's not that I'm anti-technology, but they keep screwing with things, and it's like, I'm here to make progress, not to relearn how to reinvent the wheel every week. Now, if I did this IT stuff for a living, which I don't, then, maybe it would be less frustrating, but. That's why I don't even want to upgrade to my computer will start up. Says, hey, do you want to upgrade to Windows 11? I said, hell no. What if everything doesn't start working again? And then I have to buy a new computer or take it in. I don't have time for that. I got a busy job. I'm here to chit-chat and paint figures. Anything I'm doing that's not chit-chatting or painting figures is moving in a different direction than I had intended, so. I said, I just want to make sure this is running because we're going to try to do a different format. But we'll have to do it here while I've got some time over the weekend. Well, I've got some time where I can't film. Like, I've got time maybe to look into stuff, but I'm not going to be able to film because there's too much noise or whatever. Too many people here, something like that. But it allows me to get something else done. I think this guy needs to have pants that have a little bit of a green something or another. All right. Good morning, Dirt. You can watch your Achaemenid. I know you're a big Persian fan, so you can watch your Achaemenid stuff on there. Maybe it'll turn out how you expected. Maybe it won't. It seems like every game, though, if anybody's watching stuff and they're superstitious, I'm really making their head spin. But hey, that's what you get for being superstitious. I don't believe in that stuff. That's just a bunch of hokey crap. It's just a stupid game. It's just a stupid game that, heck, I didn't even use any of my figures, you know? So, all right. So we're going to mess with, I think this weekend we're going to mess with some Streamlabs things. I'll watch some videos, and I use YouTube for a lot of stuff. Like, I got a question, like, well, let's see if somebody made a video on it. It makes it easy to understand. And not everybody's the best at making those instructional videos. There's some people that I just can't get, I can't figure out what the heck they're trying to get to, or they'll spend too much time on certain details and not enough on others, you know? And that's the case with a lot of movies too, right? They spend too much time on stuff that isn't important, and the stuff that's important, they just rush through it. Everybody's woke up now. Good. Likely we start on this week. Okay, so you are going to do them next. 2 a.m. here, working late. The curse on being on call. Looking forward to watching some Persian battles tomorrow. Yeah, it's here's the good news. We did 4 battles in about 2 hours and maybe 15 minutes. The advantage that we have when Mitch and I play, we play quicker than everybody else. So, you know, if you're, I know when I first started doing the videos, people would complain, oh, you're going too slow. I said, hey, you know, there's a fast forward button. You know, I'm not paying anybody to watch the videos. If there's too much trouble to sit there and watch the videos, then don't watch them, you know. But I can't spend 7 hours editing a 2-hour video. That's, you know, again, not moving in the correct direction. You know, you don't have to watch them. Go put them in the background. You don't even have to look at the screen. Go fold laundry or something. When something interesting happens, take a look at the screen. You know, you don't have to sit there and look at the thing the whole time. That's what I do with other people's videos. Well, depending on the video. Some people's videos, I don't even have to look at the screen because it's just a monologue. I mean, I don't mean that by saying they're boring. That's kind of the nature of the beast. You know, like this stuff, you probably don't even have to look at what I'm doing. You can just go do your honeydew list, you know? And joke's on her, you're listening to gaming stuff. Or him, I guess. I guess your honeydew could be a dude. Hey, whatever floats your boat, man. Green ochre. What's it doing up there? I put my paints away, and then the ones that I knew where they were at, I don't know where they're at anymore. Here we go. Desert yellow, that's the one. I'll be offended and report you if not a complete set of victories for Persia. Boy. You're really sucking off the satrap, aren't you? We'll see. I can tell you this. 2 of the battles were blowouts and not much fun to watch. And 2 of them were really interesting to watch. And ultimately, you want them all to be interesting to watch, regardless of who of who wins. As a player, you want them to be. In a tournament, you don't. In a tournament, you don't want that kind of stress. But when we're playing just a friendly game, I mean, yeah, I still keep track of my wins and losses, but, I want it to be. Did I already have it here? I'm going nuts. Next stop, nursing home. You want close games. So. But we specifically avoided, before anybody says it, we specifically avoided fighting the Greeks because it seemed to be really one-ended. So you've got, the first battle that we did against the Babylonians. We did against their enemies, and we didn't realize that the Babylonians also have 8 bow. So it's 2 forces that are heavily laden with 8 bow elements. I believe they each have 4 each. So that was an interesting little wrinkle how that all played out. Then they fight the Lydians. They fight the Lydians twice. So the first one was with the Achaemenid A configuration. And then we go to India, where they fight the Mountain Indians. And then we go to Cyrus's army, which, according to the Book of Barker, has only 1 enemy. And I guess there's other versions of the army that are also Cyrus. It just happens to be the army that specifically was used against the Lydians by Cyrus was the B list, and that's the one that has all the funky stuff in it. They got the big war wagons and they got those towers. They've got the side chariots and so forth. So that's why they feature on there twice. Because if I remember correctly, the Lydians and Cyrus, Croesus and Cyrus matched off 3 times. Well, I don't think Croesus was the commander. Did you need me?
I'm leaving.
What's that?
I'm leaving.
Okay. All right. Good luck. I don't think Croesus was the commander in the first 2 battles, but they faced off in 3 battles, and the first 2 were like stalemates, and the last one, I don't mean in real life. I don't mean in the game. The first 2 were stalemates, and the last one was a victory for Cyrus, where Croesus gets captured, and instead of killing him, actually there's I think 2 different versions of it or whatever. One of them that he gets killed, and one of them he gets killed in a heinous manner. And another one that he gets captured and used as an advisor. So, the Persians were supposedly, by the standards of the day, let me caveat it with that, pretty reasonable folks. By the standards of the day, that's always good to put that in there, because you never know. But one of the battles involved a river. And I don't remember this exactly because the Lydians actually was an army I was planning on painting, and started black basing them, and then just got sidetracked. And they were the victim of a horse trade. Someone, I think off of Fanaticus, found out I had the army, wanted the army, and they sent me a personal message saying, hey, would you like to do a horse trade? I've got these troops that I'm not really using, and I would like to trade them for your Lydians. And I'm like, well, I got like 2 armies worth of Lydians, because I had the troops from Chariot, And I had them also from Falcon. I actually had some Falcon figures. I had a Falcon army. One of the vendors at our show, he puts together armies with figures, and this was a long time ago when Falcon was still around. And I know Falcon figures can sometimes be a little funky looking. These were fine. They had a lot of character and so forth. So I actually had a uh, like two armies worth. And this guy made me an offer. He made me an offer. I was working on my Hungarians at the time, so I was working the Eastern European stuff, and he traded me these figures I'm painting now for the Lydians. So I've got nothing against the Lydians. They just weren't very. The problem with the Lydians, I'd have to invent a lot of things like out of nowhere, you know. And I had them for like 10 years, 15 years, maybe. Never did anything with them, and I guess it was the right move because I'm working on these guys now. But I probably still wouldn't be working on the Lydians. But anyhow, so that's why I know a little bit about the battles. One of them involves a river. Another one involves something like a. There was like a meteor. It was like a sign. There was like an eclipse or something like that, and they called the battle off. Just forgive my details. Look it up. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Those three battles in the 500s BC, 546, something like that. Yeah, they fought off. They faced off three times in Anatolia. Da, da, da. I think basing is an important as painting of the figures. It is. For my desert texture, I use sandstone masonry paint. You can get tester pots cheap, rough texture, preferably has grit on it. Yeah, I guess you could. I really like the desert. I really like the desert colors. That's why there's going to be more Book One armies in my future, but they're going to be a couple years away because I got some stuff I want to work on. Well, this army is and its allies is going to consume all of 2022. I could tell you that already. It's going to be. It's going to tie that up. There's just that much to do. And then after that, who knows? I don't want to speculate on what's going to happen next because the winds may be blowing in a different direction when I get around to them. So. It looks like this feed, I don't want to brag, looks like this feed, we're not going to get disconnected. Well, if the internet goes down, which could happen any time, but I mean the camera nonsense. I think we got that solved. Now I just need to figure out, I need to get a camera app that I can look at the screen. So maybe this isn't the camera app for me, but let me not change too many things. Let's screw with Streamlabs later today. And maybe tomorrow's feed, tomorrow morning, it'll have a good look. It'll be, I just want some chat on there and make it a little fancier. We've been doing this long enough. We can certainly up the quality of it. Persians were remarkably advanced. Unfortunately, Mr. Barker does seem to be slightly based in favor of the Greco-Roman world. Well, okay. I have an Athenian army to do, and I was going to run them for a show, but it's a lot of the same troop type. They're solid. I've kicked ass for that army. That's one of my winningest armies. Of course, I don't own it, but I should paint them just going to start them. They'll have like a 12-2 record or something. It's something ridiculous, And it's not like they fought people that, they can't do well against. I wish there was a way. I know that's kind of not one of the issues, one of the things of DBA, but I wish there was a way to represent, the Persians being that much bigger. Like, the Persians could have like 16 elements and the Greeks would have 10 or something like that. I guess you could do that if you're doing like set piece battles, but, that's a big part of it that's not really represented in DBA, is just sheer freaking numbers. And that's a thing. I mean, that's a big part of, historical battles. So that's one of the strengths of the Persians. Is the Persians have people from all over their known world that would contribute. And one of the reasons why, some of the Romans are so powerful against their enemies is they just, if you're going to have the same number of units, yeah, the Romans are pretty freaking strong. So, um, I mean, heck, when you're doing like the Spartans are really only like two stands, and everybody else is like their allies and helots and all that kind of stuff. But, you look at the list and like all spearmen, and it doesn't make a differentiation between them. So, there's some things that are kind of shoehorned in just for the rules aren't perfect. I think when you can sit down and you can play 4 battles in an evening, that makes up for a lot of discrepancies or shortcomings that the rules may have. I mean, I've played lots of games that had a lot of detail that were awesome, but we weren't able to finish the game. So what good did that do? In the long term, after playing dozens of games that never finished, I welcome the fact that you could finish a game. I value that a lot. You're sorted with figures, Tony. I bought most of them 20 years ago. I've only been adding what I need to make DBA armies and just been sitting there doing nothing in my stash. I agree. I agree. I am not tempted by buying any new lead. Oh, these new figures came out. Oh, they look awesome. I'm not going to buy them. I've got things I'm perfectly happy with. Case in point, pre-feudal Scots. I have a pre-feudal Scots army made of Essex figures and a few QRF figures, because I had some QRF mounted that I went ahead and got when I got in my Irish. So so I've got the horse and stuff from QRF, all the infantry's from Essex, and I have all the figures that I need to paint them whenever I get around to doing them, which I keep saying is going to be sooner rather than later. I will get to them in the next 2 years unless something drastically happens to me. There, I'm covered, okay? I do want to do them. I think I could have a lot of fun. I can drink scotch with them, and I can do silly accents that you people in Britannia will make fun of me. But I still do better accents than most people in this country. I know that's not saying a whole lot, because we're not very good at that here. But they are on my list of things to do. The pre-feudal Scots. QRF makes other figures that have a lot of... the army list isn't super exciting. They have like a cav general, like a solid warband, 6 to 8 fast pikemen, and like a Saloy or something like that. So it's not a super exciting army list. They got a light horse in there as well. But QRF makes figures that have all kinds of different poses. When I get around to doing them, I'm going to order like 1 pack of the QRF guys that I don't have for the infantry, because they're going to be really interesting and fun to play, just like my Irish. I love playing my Irish because there's like 4 different manufacturers with them, and they all have character. I got one guy that's huge, and they've got so much. There's so much fun to play and paint that I don't want to short myself up on that. What's another $20? Throw another $20 at the problem. I just don't want to throw $20 at something and then end up not doing anything with it, because that's just a waste of money. Better late than never. Yeah, you're late to the show. We'll have a show tomorrow. Maybe we'll have a new look. Who knows? Quite a mission going through army lists, seeing what I need to fill the gaps. That's fun as hell. I love doing that. I love shopping for figures and stuff. Even if you don't buy them, just looking through and it's like, okay, I need to do this army for this and these figures for that. And all right, if I built, it works better with armies that are weird. Not like if something like, oh, I want to build a later Achaemenid Persian. Oh, I'll just buy the Zyston army pack. Done, right? Because, Zyston stuff's good. But if you're looking for something weird that maybe they don't make the figures for, I love doing that. Trying to figure out who makes the figures and which guys should I use, kind of thing. So, other people don't like doing that. I love doing that. the person I used to paint with or whatever, this person had an aversion to having any extra figures left over. And I have lots of figures left over and buy extra figures from a flea market. And I'm telling you, it comes in handy. It comes in handy. Now, sometimes it's exhausting how many extra figures I have. Like they're in a container and I have trouble picking it up. I think I weighed it. It was like 80 pounds or something. No, maybe it was 50. I forget. Anyways, it's not because I can't pick up 50 pounds. It's just you ever pick up something and the grip on it is so narrow that you almost like cut the circulation on your fingers off. It's one of those type of situations, you know. Anyways, I have a lot of 15 millimeter lead. And I don't mind having it because I'm like, I feel like building feudal French. What can I do? I can do the whole army, and then buy like one pack of this or whatever to supplement and give them exactly the right look. But for the meat and potatoes, I've got most of the figures for most of the armies that that I can look at, and it just and I've had them either given to me or nobody wanted them, or I got it on a flea market, and it was like, oh, for $10 you can have this big box. I'm like, well, hell with it, I'll take them. That kind of stuff. They've built up over almost 20 years, and they don't take up much space. They don't take up much space at all. So I don't see what the problem is with having them. And I only have things in one scale. It's not like I've got all these 28 millimeter things that I'm never going to play with. So I don't know. I like having extra figures. Biota seems to be expanding their line. Really? I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that. I've got some figures from them, but I've never painted them. I've got some of their Normans. You have 6 camel for museum miniatures, and I need a camel general, otherwise I'd feel an early Bedouin. Well, the original, you may have the new museums, but the original museum camels are beautiful, but they just won't fit on a stand. I don't care what you do them. Well, unless you turn them at like 45-degree angle. I don't want to do that. I mean, 10, 15 degree, anything more than that. And it's like, which side's the front? I don't want to get into that. Type of thing. So. Well, the camera seems to be working really well. That's very good because I've got some time, I think, specifically today to try some other things. Not while I'm filming, so that the presentation for tomorrow morning's thing will be a little bit more modern, more fun. So, we still need 2 cameras. Well, you get one. You get the one that's, the one that's coming from the computer. That one always works. If that one's not working, then the computer's not working, and guess what? You've got no live feed. So, yeah, they are huge, and they're beautiful though. They're a really nice. It's a shame it's a shame they don't fit on the stand correctly. I don't know that they're too big, because camels can be pretty big animals, but and I like how they look, but got to use them in a camp or something, or make the stand deeper. Pre-feudal Scots, yeah. Looking forward to doing those guys. I'm not a big fan of, here we go, let's offend people in England. I'm not a big fan of Dark Ages England armies. I just don't think the history is very interesting. For me, I'm not interested in it all. I don't like American Civil War, so, certain things appeal to different things. That said, I think they're kind of a cool troop composition, yeah, maybe if that was my heritage, I would be more interested in it. But I know some people are really excited about, stuff that involves the Anglo-Saxon invasions. And I'm like, it's just not my thing, And a part of it probably has to do with the figures that are made aren't super exciting, and I'm going to have to paint a bunch of guys like this. So there's not enough specific information on like flags or this, that, and the other to kind of add a little bit of detail. When you have to create everything from scratch, when the palette is too blank, it's kind of a turnoff for me. Because you can only do that. I don't mind doing that in one army, two armies, but not like every army of that period. You basically just have to pull everything out of your nether regions because the stuff just wasn't written down. It's a little too unfun for me. The palette's a little too blank. So. But again, just because it's not my thing doesn't mean I'm not going to paint the armies for it. Just like I've always said in the past, a lot of people don't play Asian armies. An excuse that they say is that, well, they don't know anything about them. Well, there's your excuse to know something about them. If you look at the descriptions that Phil Barker's added to the list, you can tell that he has a thing for the sub-Roman British. Because the sub-Roman British writing, the description in there is almost like a page long, seems like. He definitely has a thing for that army. And I'm like, I think of all the armies in Britain, that's probably the one that interests me the least. So. Kyrgyzstan are looking very interesting to me, offering a wide variety of armies to paint for DBA. Yeah, they've really expanded, Not offended, mate. I don't like ECW era in my own country. Yeah. Every period just doesn't necessarily appeal to you. I don't like American history. I don't like American history. It's just not very exciting. I like the rest of the world where people have been fighting a lot longer. Well, I guess I'm not interested in doing like tribal fight. Even if you did stuff like, Aztecs and stuff like that, like Toltecs, nobody makes Toltec figures. Like, even if you did, there's like no descriptions of any of the battles. So again, the palette is too empty. Where you have to create everything from scratch. So. Yeah, I've never liked American history. I've taken it, but anything that starts focusing too much on laws, I'm not interested. That's boring. I'm not a law student. I want to hear about people killing each other because it's fascinating. It's that morbid curiosity. It's like the same reason people watch horror movies, Mine is, I think it's fascinating. Do I want to be in a conflict? No, but it's just fascinating. That's all. You guys get it? You're historical war gamers. You guys aren't warmongers and don't want to, burn and pillage things, but, it's fun to talk about it in a fantasy setting. I think we're going to have to use this thing right here. Yeah, actually, I can't think of a period that would be less interesting to me than American Civil War. I'm trying to think. I don't, for wargaming or painting, I don't really like that time period to begin with. And, what's worse than, playing Americans? You're playing two teams that are both Americans. And I don't want to play the Yankees because I can't do any funny accents with them. At least you could talk like a redneck for 2 hours straight. That'd be fun, We could do that. This is why I like biblical. They've been fighting for 5,000 years and still going. Yeah, I'd have to take a rest between biblical stuff because a lot of it is just you have to create a lot of things out of nowhere. Unless you're doing stuff like the Egyptians or, most of these smaller civilizations, you have to just create things out of scratch. And it's just too big an ask. It's not that I can't do it. It's just like, man, we need more information on these folks. Considering you're interested in painting and flags, do you have an interest in gaming the 1700s? I don't. Not at all. Zero interest. Zero interest. No, I like work my way through things, okay? And I'm like, I've played that game, that Maurice game, and it's a good game, but after a while, it's like everything's the same. There's not enough different troop types. You've got cannon, you've got horse, you have foot. That's it. There's not more different things. Now, I'll do stuff like I'll go visit a historical site and that maybe involves that period, and then I want to read the history and I'll look and see who makes figures and what rule sets you would use, and that's where I stop it. I'm like, I don't need to go into that stuff. The 1700s, yeah, it doesn't really. Now, I've thought about doing Prussians and Austrians or something like that. But, I work it through my head and I'm like, it's just painting a lot of the same thing over and over again. And I think playing the rules, I wouldn't have a whole lot of fun. Even with rules as fun as, say, Maurice, because Maurice are fun rules. It just, every battle starts turning into the same battle, But I'll look into it and I'll be like, okay, well, maybe I can do it in 6mm. Who makes figures for 6mm, and go about it that way. But, I've talked myself out of a lot of stuff, and I think that's safe because this is what I need to stick with. Because the reality is we will get a lot of battles done in these figures, in this scale, and post them. Other stuff, I could get discouraged and stuff like that. So, all right, so we're going to call this one. How long have we been on here? About an hour. Yeah, I just wanted to do this a short one, make sure everything was running, and then we're going to go ahead and delve later today into seeing if we can give this channel a new look on these live things. So we will see. Wish me luck. And worst case scenario, now we will do this format tomorrow morning. I think we've solved the whole disconnecting issue with the phone thing. I tried to just see if I could update that phone app, that Irian Cam is what it is, and it worked fine for couple years, and all of a sudden it wants to be a pain. But anyways, thanks for stopping by, folks, and we'll catch you tomorrow morning. Stay tuned. We should be back at our normal time at before 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. Enjoy your Saturday, folks. Bye-bye.